Show has time. Looks for Deutsch. Deutsch at the one into the end zone.
Comes on to serve. Dug out by Bishop. This to the middle and slamming one home.
And free ball to the crossover. Eilertson will get the pass for Hawley. Set up left side. Rusted down with the kill.
He'll play action now. Look to pass over the middle. It's intercepted by Cole Hebel. Intercepted by Hebel, and he brings it back.
Set it up, Bostena left side. Big kill blocked at the net. Kept alive by the Greyhounds.
Fetting's got room, and here's Bo Fetting. Fetting's still on his feet. Fetting's gone. Both.
The Your Live Event Coaches Show is presented by the Hillsboro Economic Development Committee.
Hello again. Welcome to the Your Live Event Coaches Show, brought to you by the Hillsboro Economic Development Commission. I'm Joe Lancello, and we'll be talking a little hockey today, boys hockey from Red Lake Falls and girls hockey from Warroad, the defending state champions. We'll also have a little girls basketball with Martin Wild, the coach of Cats Lake-Bena, and boys basketball. 3 different coaches there. We'll hear from Matt Norman of Central Cats a little bit later on. Chase Miller had a chance to talk with him. We'll also have Landon Schultz from Lake Park-Audubon, who's off to a nice start this year. We're going to start things off, though, with Elliot Rotsvold, the coach of Hillsboro Central Valley. The Burros starting their season on Monday with a win.
Welcome back to the Your Live Event Coaches Show, brought to you by the Hillsboro Economic Development Commission. Joined now by Elliot Rotsvold, the coach of the Hillsboro Central Valley Burros, who got their season off to a winning start on Monday night against Kindred. Talk a little bit about that game.
Yeah, it was a good basketball game, especially for two teams that were playing the first game of the year. Both teams lost quite a bit from last year. We had, 2 starters back that played decent minutes last year. They had really only a couple players back that saw time at the varsity level last year, 2 or 3. So, for two teams that had, pretty much new groups out there, it was a well-played basketball game. Both teams are talented, and it was back and forth all night long, and we just happened to, find our way on top there at the end in overtime.
What were some of the things that made it happen, the victory that is? What did you do well that allowed you to win?
Well, our strength, which we've had for a few years here, is on the inside. We've got 2 juniors in Jacob Brandt, a 6'9" junior, and Landon Olson, who's a 6'2" junior. They both are real good post players in there, and we want the ball to go through those 2, and then the rest of the guys, are good players too. But we want to get those touches on the inside first. And those 2 did a really good job against a Kindred team that has good size too. We got the ball into those 2, and I think we were able to kind of dominate the paint in that way, and that was important. They beat us from the 3-point line. I think the first half they made 8 out of 15 from the 3, and had a 5-point lead there at half. And we were, I thought we defended them decent. They got a couple open looks, but they hit some really tough ones from 3, and they got some good offensive players. And we were just maybe a little slow on a couple closeouts, and we talked about that at halftime, and we were able to adjust to that in the second half, and we got up on them a little tighter and forced them to put the ball on the floor a little bit more. And I think the second half they only made a couple threes. I think maybe they were 2 for 8 or 2 for 9 from 3 in the second half, and that was important as well.
At 6'9", I would imagine that Jacob Brandt is one of the tallest players in the region.
Yeah, I think he is. He got Matt. Kindred had some size. The OC kid, a sophomore for them, he's 6'7", and then they got the Praza kid that's 6'5", so they had some decent size too. But we were still able to, take advantage of that. And Jacob's always gonna match up with that the biggest player that the other team has, which helps out Landon. Landon's maybe an undersized post at 6'2", but he plays bigger than 6'2", and he's just a bulldog in there. He'll catch the ball. He doesn't care if he gets a shot blocked. He'll just stay after it. And for those 2 to go, Landon with 27 and Jacob with 25, and then I think they probably had 20, 22 rebounds between the 2 of them as well. That's a pretty good night for those 2. But we also got good contributions, I thought, from our guards. Peter Dryberg, who started for us last year, playing a little bit more forward this year. He's gotten a lot stronger. He's about 6'3". He rebounded the ball really well for us and just played a good floor game. He got in a little foul trouble in the first half, got three fouls early, but he came back that second half. I think we had him down. He only scored 5 for us. We probably needed him to score a little bit more, but he made some good plays out there. I think he had 8 rebounds and 5 or 6 assists as well. So played a really good floor game for us. And then our other 2 starters in Riley Olsen and Michael Longthorne at the guards, they just handled the ball well. We didn't turn it over too many times. I think maybe we ended up with 12 for the night. So against Kindred, who likes to get up and play a little bit of press, and they half-court trapped you a little bit. I thought we handled it pretty well for that. And we got a really good contributions off the bench from 6'5" Carter Limke came in and was 4 for 4 from the field and scored 10 points for us coming off the bench. And Dylan Mitzel, 6'1" guard, he came in and got us 4 more points. So to get 14 off the bench was really big for us as well.
Absolutely. Everybody needs that. And what you were saying about Peter, that was a nice way to fill up the box score. Maybe a little more in points, but certainly the rebounds and the assists.
Yeah, definitely. We've talked, early in the year here between Jacob and Landon and Peter, if we can get 45 out of those 3 on a nightly basis and, the other guys can chip in there 20, 25, we're going to be in pretty good shape. And we got 57 and I think like 30 rebounds and 57 points out of those 3. So that's a pretty good night. And the other guys did a really nice job of just filling in things. And, eventually, we know that we're going to see some teams that are going to try to sag in and take away the inside. But, the good thing that we have with our big guys, we can get up and down the floor. Both those guys run really well and get up and down the floor well. And we're trying to push it early and beat the defense down there, and those guys are running to the block early. And if we can transition and get them the ball early before the defense gets set up, we feel like we have a pretty good advantage. And we didn't shoot it great from the perimeter, and really probably Jacob and Peter and Carter coming off the bench. Those are probably the 3 best 3-point shooters, even though all 3 of them are bigger players. So our guards will come around as the year comes on, but they know what their roles are, and that's good, especially this early in the season.
And having somebody that big who can pop out and shoot the 3, that'll drive a defense a little crazy.
Yeah, it definitely helps because, like I said, he can draw that bigger guy outside, which leaves Landon Olsen inside, maybe against a guy that's his size or a guy that he can maybe take on the inside. And if Jake can pop out and go a little high-low with those 2 from the perimeter to the post, it definitely gives you a nice advantage there. So yeah, it's a good luxury to have a 6'9" kid that can step out and shoot 3s and play really tough in the post and it just changes the dynamic of the whole team.
Elliot Rotsvold is the coach of the Hillsboro Central Valley Burros boys basketball team, winning their season opener on Monday night. How do you see things shaping up in Region 2?
Just like most years, if not every year that I've been coaching here, it's going to be tough. There's always 5-6 teams at the top that are really good, and the rest of the teams you can't just show up and beat teams in this region. So, we lost a lot from last year with only Jacob and Peter back as starters and really the only ones with any kind of varsity experience, So I think we got picked 5th by the coaches in the region, which is about where I expected us to be in that 4th, 5th spot with the guys that we lost. But, the teams that have lots of guys back, Grafton's got quite a few back. They lost a Jisker kid on the inside. That's going to be a bit of a loss for them, but they've got all their perimeter guys back, and they'll shoot the 3 really well, and they defend really well as well on the perimeter like they always do. Thompson's got a really nice team back, and they'll have some depth. They got just about all their players back. North Border's probably got 2 of the better players in the region in Aiden Stainbrook and TJ Cosley. 2 players have been starting for them for the last 3 years. This will be their 3rd year starting. TJ, I think, probably 4 years. But they don't have a lot of depth, but they've got those 2 plus a younger Cosley kid that started for them last year. So they got 3 really good players. And then Mayport CG's got a nice team coming back as well. And then when you go down the list with Cavalier and Park River, Fordville, Lankin, Midway, Minto, all those teams have good players back. So like I said, every night you're going to have to show up and play. The good thing for us this year is I think we're playing Grafton twice, which we haven't done in the past. We're playing them twice. We're playing Thompson twice, which we always have. And we're picking up Mayport twice again this year. So we got those, 3 of the top 4 teams twice this year. And then we got to go to North Border again because the region schedule, they redid the region schedule. So, you end up with some anomalies there where you end up going on the road against the same team 2 times in a row, and some teams are coming to you when they revamp the schedule. So we got to go up there again this year towards the end of the year. So seven games against the other top 4 teams in the region, are going to be challenges for us.
What have you got coming up on the schedule? I know you open up on Monday night. What have you got coming up in the next week or so?
Well, we're supposed to play Sargent County tomorrow night out of Region 1. They're supposed to come up here. We'll see if that happens, if, depending on how fast it gets cleaned up or how much more snow we get, and you just got to play that by ear. And I'm sure we'll get it rescheduled as soon as we can, whether it's Saturday this week, talked about that, or, later next week or something like that. We've got them coming up, and they got a really nice team up down there. They are picked in that top 4 in Region 1, 4 or 5, in that tough region. And then we next week on Tuesday, we got Hatton Northwood coming to our place in Central Valley. And then Thursday next week, we got a doubleheader with the girls over at Northern Cass before the Christmas break. And then after Christmas, the Thursday after Christmas, we go to Oak Grove, so another Region 1 team. And that's our 5 games before the new year. And then once the new year comes around and January rolls in, that's when things really start getting busy.
And it can always get busier depending on the weather.
Yeah, definitely, and you got to start rescheduling games this early. That's why we're hoping, if we do have to reschedule it, if we can get it, the sooner you can get it in, the better, because if you start piling games into January, then you start losing dates, and pretty soon you're playing 4 or 5 games in a week, and that makes it pretty tough. So hopefully we can get it in this week, and guys will get another opportunity to go out there and play. And like we talked about them after the Kindred game, we beat a good Kindred team. It was a good start to the year, but you put that one in the back burner, win or lose, and we're just trying to build something here with this season's team, and this team's been a really positive team, a real together team. They've really come into the season with a great attitude, and I think they'll be ready to move forward and try to get better day in and day out, which is what you're looking for as a coach.
It should be some great basketball for the fans to look at at Region 2 this year. Elliot Rotsvold, thank you so much, and best of luck to the Burros this season.
All right, thanks a lot. I appreciate it.
We'll continue with the Your Live Event Coaches Show, brought to you by the Hillsboro Economic Development Commission, right after this.
Hillsboro Economic Development Committee supports businesses in the Hillsboro community in the form of loans and grants. Experience Hillsboro. There's more at 104.
Here on the Hillsboro EDC Coaches Show, we're joined now by Landon Schultz, the coach of the Lake Park-Audubon Raider boys basketball team. Landon, how's your season been going?
It's been going pretty good. We're about 3 weeks through here, and we've seen a lot of progress with our guys in that short time that we've had together, and we're excited to keep building off of it.
Now, you've got quite a few guys back. I think losing just one player from last year, but he was a pretty good one.
Yeah, we lost a second team all-conference player in Trent Bierke, but that's the only senior we lost. So it's really, really nice, pretty refreshing to have a lot of experience back in the gym with us every single day that we get to practice and play.
Who are the fellas that you've been looking to so far this season?
I think as far as players is what you're kind of referring to there. Yeah. So, I think Colby Pagel stepped up pretty big for us. He's filled a little bit of a void, that we maybe had question marks regarding, some rebounding ability and, a big body, big presence inside. He's had a great start to his year, and, I could kind of go on and on about these guys, but, Tegan Bierke, Luca Besky, Carter Minsky, Satchel McDonald, Mark Peterson as well. Guys that we had in the gym a lot this summer are contributing a lot for us.
So far, what do you see as the strong points of your team?
I think thus far, through the first couple contests and our scrimmage that we got to go to in Perm, I would say, I think we're a pretty tight knit defensive group. We work really hard on the defensive end. We've been getting out in transition. quite frequently and putting up some points, and then as well as kind of dominating the inside with our two post players and Mark Peterson and Colby Pagel.
How do you see things in the Pine to Prairie Conference this year?
I see, a really tough conference again. As always, it just seems like there's never really a down year in the Pine to Prairie. There's always, 4 or 5 teams that can really, challenge you on any given night. I think this is probably the most balanced I would say it's been, from top to bottom. There's not a huge fall off by any means, from top to bottom, but I think, Ada Borp West is pretty tough. Fosson's going to be really good. Fertile's always going to be, a tough challenge. Minoan and Waban. And then, even teams like, Winnie-Mac, Park Christian, Norman County, East Hill, and Hirdall are going to present some problems to some teams. But I would say from that north half, I would say Fosson and Fertile for sure are going to be really tough. And then that south half, until somebody knocks off, Minoan and Waban, kind of there at the top the last few years, I think they would probably be the favorites.
Okay. Now, on your schedule coming up, you got some interesting things. On the 17th, you're going to be going to Concordia for a boys and girls doubleheader. And then over the Christmas break, you've got a tournament in Walker, I understand.
Yeah. So we were able to line up a game against Park Christian next Saturday over there at Concordia College, kind of get our guys a little bit of a taste of, what that environment could possibly be like if they're playing, a section tournament game there in March here down the road in a few months. So that'll be a good experience for our guys. And then we've been heading up to Walker the last few years for a holiday tournament. We stay up there, stay overnight, and good little team bonding, time over the holidays there.
And is that a 14 tournament in Walker?
So it's actually, there's 8 teams that will be up there. It's just split into 2 4-team brackets.
Okay.
Over those 2 days. So.
Do you know who you'll be playing in that first game?
Yeah, we drew Walker Hackensack Akeley will be our opening round game there, and then on the other half of the bracket is in our bracket anyway is Hill City and Winnie-Mac. So we might see a familiar face potentially in that second round, and depending on how we do. So that'll be a fun game for us if we do get that matchup.
All right. We look forward to seeing what the Raiders will be doing this season. Landon Schultz, thank you so much for your time and best of luck this year.
Thank you. Really appreciate it.
Okay, and we'll have more on the Hillsboro EDC Coaches Show right after this.
We built Irie Insurance with one philosophy: hire great people and provide great service and options. We want to help protect your home, farm, crops, personal, and your businesses. Hello, this is Shane with Irie Insurance, and since day one, we have followed this golden rule to help protect you. That's why we have so many locations like West Fargo, Devils Lake, Hope, Hillsboro, Macville, and Towner. To find out more about Irie Insurance, go to IrieInsurance.com. Irie Insurance is an equal opportunity employer and provider.
Take a good look at Hillsboro. It's conveniently located between Fargo and Grand Forks. Hillsboro is a growing community with solid local schools with high graduation rates. There's an industrial park ready to host a new business. And there's Woodland Park with activities all year round. The Hillsboro Economic Development Corporation asks you to take a good look at Hillsboro when you're thinking about a place to put down roots and grow. For more information, contact the Hillsboro Economic Development Corporation at growhillsboroND.com.
Lee Brothers Sales, Highway 9 in Ada, invites you to order your new Buick and Chevrolet vehicles. From the Silverado, Trailblazers, Traverse, and Enclave, Lee Brothers is your authorized Chevrolet and Buick dealer, providing sales and a service to the area since 1975. For ordering your vehicles, talk with Mitch, Smurf, or Jay. Trust the experts who know your vehicles best and take advantage of great Chevy certified service offers today. Lee Brothers Sales, Highway 9, Ada, 218-784-2000.
Welcome back to the Your Live Event Coaches Show, brought to you by the Hillsboro Economic Development Commission. In just a moment, we'll hear from Chase Miller as he talked to Matt Norman, the coach of the Central Cass boys basketball team. But first, we're going to go to Mac Robinson. He chatted with Martin Wild, the coach of the Cass Lake-Bena Panthers girls basketball team.
And welcome back. I'm joined now by head coach of the Cass Lake-Bena Panthers girls basketball team, Martin Wind. And Coach, one, thank you for joining me. And two, when it comes to, your girls team this year, we got a chance to see how you guys fared against Fairville-Trammy earlier in the week. But at the same time, I think it was really interesting the way that your team plays, and especially, the play of Gabrielle Fine Day, especially.
Yeah, Gabby's just, she's a really good player. I would consider her one of the best players in Northern Minnesota and even in the state total. Her shooting and then just her IQ is just awesome. Just having her as a leader. We always call her an older girl, but she's only a 10th grader. So, it's awesome to have Gabby. But yeah, like you said, I got to watch us earlier. We're super young. I think everyone's seen that. We're super young. Got an 8th grader, like I said, in the starting lineup with a couple of 3 sophomores and a junior. So we're super young team. And,
for you as a coach, how does that transition, especially having some of those younger players get some of those reps early on, for you as a coach, how do you kind of attack that and, try to take the season along with these girls here, especially?
I just tell them, just don't get down on yourselves. You're going to make mistakes. Gabby and Alexia LaRose are my 2 older girls and they're sophomores, and they went through the same thing. I had them on varsity as a 7th grader and 8th graders. Both of them, they both started as freshmen, and they kind of help along with, I got Annika Wind, Rihanna Fairbanks, Staples, who was only a 7th grader playing a lot of varsity minutes. They help a lot, and like I said, I just tell them, don't get down on yourselves. If you miss, keep shooting. Make a mistake, we'll correct it, and there's more games behind these girls. The better and better they're going to get, and by the time, we have 25 more games left in the regular season, and after those 25 games, we're going to be a tough team to beat.
And what do you view as some of the strengths for your team here so far? I know you said it's a young team, but, so far, what have you been able to, take away from these girls this season?
I'll just get out and running, and they run the offense really well, setting some good screens. We're trying to use Gabby a lot of her setting screens, and no one's going to help off her. A lot of people are going to double her, and all the girls know that, so they're just kind of working off Gab, and I think just the best thing they're doing is just creating turnovers. We're long, we're lengthy. We got some quick girls, some athleticism, and they just get out and run. I think that's our strong suit.
Yeah, and it really seems like, your team too, you have a lot of height advantage out there as well. Terry Wind out there, Shaylee Falls down as well. You mentioned the pick game for them. Basically, pick and rolls. It felt like that was a big focus of the offense that we've been able to see here so far.
Oh, yeah, we have Terry Wind. She's probably standing about 6'2", 6'1". Alyssa Wright's about 6'1", 6 foot. Falls down and Wind are both about 5'10". And they play guards and bigs. But, yeah, our screen and rolls, that's what we really like to run. We like to space the court. We like to shoot the 3-ball. A lot of our girls are a little timid on shooting it right now. I think that's just the youth and it's not playing together as much yet. But, like I said, as more games behind us, and you're going to see how our offense will start rolling soon.
And then I know you mentioned, having some of these girls that come up in 7th grade and have played with the team for a few years now, especially. Do you think that helps with the leadership for these girls, especially in that locker room?
Yes. I started here 4 years ago. I was at the boys program for a while, and we were always open to bringing up kids as long as they're doing well at their grade level. And like the biggest one was Taryn Fraser, just graduated last year, and she was playing varsity since 7th grade. And it was just kind of the same thing when I started. She was a 10th grader, and she just picked up the role of being a leader. And I think that's where Gabby and Lexi are right now, with picking up the role of being a leader and getting the most varsity minutes the last 3 years. So I think that's really helpful just to bring them up and just practice-wise. And, a couple of years down the road, their roles are going to be the new leaders on the team. So it's really helpful.
And then for you, who have been some of the players that have really kind of stood out, in your eyes? I know like you said, it's a young team, so you're always interested to see who kind of takes that leash and kind of really goes with it at that point, especially, who's really stood out in your eyes?
You got Gabby for sure. Lexia's running an offense, but besides those two, you can look at what Rihanna Fairbanks is doing. She's a 7th grader, getting really high quality shots. She plays defense really well. Annika Wind, I mean, she's doing well too. She's long, lengthy. She gets a lot of rebounds. And our biggest one that we haven't really got to put in the lineup too much is AJ Giffen. She's one of our guards. She's a junior. Did really well on JV. I let her play a few minutes of JV just to kind of get her rolling and show her that just get a few more game shots. And I think she might be one of the biggest ones that'll kind of help us in our rotation.
And then, for you mentioned that you've been coaching now for 4 years with this girls team, especially. But, getting a chance to see some of these girls kind of come up with the program, seeing you as a coach and getting a chance to coach them, what's the journey been like with a lot of these girls in your eyes, especially seeing these girls grow with you? And then on top of it, too, how is this team kind of compared to some of the other teams that you've had in the past when it comes to just the locker room entirely?
I think just getting them confidence. I mean, I don't think they really had confidence. I mean, they weren't when I first started, they weren't ready to run press. I mean, change defenses. We do a lot of changing defenses. We did a 1-3-1, a 3-2, a 2-3, and a man-to-man all against Roberta Beltrami. And I really like to switch defenses. And I think it's just getting these girls to realize they can do it, and just their confidence. I think that's the biggest thing with these girls. But they listen really well. The best thing about a young team, I think, and I said it before, is they all want to get better. They all want to, hey, what can I do to get better? What can I do to improve and help the team? And they're always open and they listen to what me and other coaches say. And it's just awesome to have a young team. And like you said, comparable to right now, I would say comparable to our other teams, it's just like what we had when I first started. A lot of young kids, a couple of 7th graders, 8th graders playing, only a few seniors on the team. I mean, so I compare it to probably, like I said, 4 years ago when I first started this team.
All right. Head coach Martin Wind of the Cass Lake-Bena Panthers girls basketball team. Martin, thank you so much for joining me. Appreciate the time.
All right. Thank you.
Live, work, and play here in Hillsboro, North Dakota. The Hillsboro Economic Development Committee can assist you with information and support for business and housing. Experience Hillsboro. More at 104.
Coming down with Coach Matt Norman of Central Cass here in 3, 2. Join us now from the Central Cass Squirrels, that is boys basketball coach, and that is Matt Norman. And Matt, first and foremost, a couple of weeks of practice here. You're getting into some non-region games before you get going with Maple River here sooner rather than later in December for Region 1. But overall, I look at your roster, and there is a bevy of kids back that have some type of varsity experience. So let's start there, just with the experience coming back. What does that do for a coach in the early part of the season here in December in Class B boys basketball?
It's definitely a benefit. It allows us to maybe just take a step back, plot our season out. We don't have to worry about basic principles, rotations, base offenses and things in that realm, because the kids know them for the most part. So we can focus more on our first 2 weeks just being competitive, finding out where people end up, and just kind of seeing where we can get ourselves in terms of lineups, rotations, and just having 2 good weeks of practice.
And the one thing, just taking a look from last season again, Cole Holzer averaged about 14 points, Carter Verkota with 13, and Sam Copperbig averaged right around 12 points. Just take a look at those three. What do they mean to this year's team in terms of just what do they bring back from their experience level?
They're just awesome kids. They're all about kind of the bigger picture. They want to leave their legacy, and it's bigger than just an individual legacy. They want to leave Castleton basketball in a better spot. And so I can't say enough good things. All of them have put in a ton of work in the off season, making sure that they get themselves bigger, better, faster, stronger. We look forward to them all kind of taking yet another step forward this year. And so if I take your squad out of it in Region 1 and I say who's going to be some other challengers that's going to try to be a top 4 seed, someone that's going to try to vie for, a top spot in the region this year, who'd be some teams that you think is going to be competitive as you continue to go through this year before we kind of get to the tail end of February, early March for that Region 1 tournament? Yeah, I think there are 3 teams kind of on our radar right away, and there's going to be another couple that I think can definitely make a push. Oak Grove and Kindred, they do a great job. They bring back a number of their pieces. Obviously, graduated a couple pretty significant players, but well coached, well organized, and their structure is challenging. So those 2 for sure. I think Sargent County brings back a really good roster, and I think they're going to do a nice job getting them ready for tournament play. And so that's another one we've got circled on our calendar. And I think Richland can do a lot of nice things too. So we've got a lot of work to do if we want to be one of those top 4 teams.
And the cool thing I know with Region 1, it's anybody's at every year. It seems like it's someone else that has a chance to make a run. We've seen it if you go back through the last 5-6 region champions, who's going to be there at the end of the season. But you also get tested in non-region play here. Mayport, CG, Thompson, Lemoore, Litchfield, and a host of others that I haven't said as well, Matt. So what are these non-region games? What do they kind of do for your club this season in terms of whether they're in Castleton or they're on the road against quality competition?
Simply put, they get us ready for the region tournament. We start off right away with a solid Mayport team, and then we get about a week off to prepare for Lemoore. And both are quality clubs, and they're going to be really, really challenging. And then we go Thompson, we've got Carrington, Hillsboro, Grafton. We go through a really good non-region schedule for us this year, and they're going to kind of sharpen us, maybe hone our skills, get us ready for the region tournament.
At the end of the day, I look at it and I always like to ask coaches this: when your team is playing well, what is the ingredients that go into it, Matt? So when the Squirrels are playing well, whether it's, December and trying to get that all the way through, because I'm sure there's going to be some rust in the first couple of games, but when the Squirrels are playing well, what's the ingredients from your point of view as a head coach?
Extra possessions. I think if we're creating extra possessions, we're gonna play well. We need to deflect passes. We need to clear the glass. We need to make sure that we're stepping up our game from a defensive perspective. We want to make sure that we're keeping other teams uncomfortable. So if we can do that, I think we're playing well.
And then over the last couple of years from your club, Matt, is this going to be a team that's deep? Do you see a lot of guys coming off the bench, whether they play 5 minutes or some play 15 in terms of a role? Everyone's roles change, throughout the season. But how is this team going to be in terms of depth, maybe what you've had in prior seasons here?
Yeah, I think last year's team was pretty deep. This year as well. We've got a number of kids that are going to step into new roles on varsity that played a bit for us last year, but they'll change a bit. And so, we'll bring in an Owen Wiersma, Eli Boer, Carter Maggio, Chase Bachmeyer. Jake Thompson had a good football season. So did Braden Mitchell. Those kids have a nice opportunity to earn more and more minutes, and they're athletic and they work really, really hard. And so if we can have that just effort and great attitude coming off our bench or even rotating into our starting lineup, that's going to be really big for us.
Final thing for you, Matt, before you let you go. When it comes to just Central Cass athletics from a boys or girls side, there's been a lot of success in a number of different sports. A lot of people remember the run to the Dome here this year for football. Take a look at what the baseball team's done the last couple of seasons, making it to state, track and field. You just keep naming sports, and there just seems to be success coming there. But what does that do from your standpoint when you maybe see another one of your players play football or play baseball or play a different sport and can bring that knowledge to say it doesn't matter what the sport is, they'll find a way to get to the end of the contest and find a way to win? What does that bring from your point of view as a coach?
It just creates an energy at the school. On the girls' side, our in addition to the teams you named, our basketball team's been really successful. Our softball team is just unreal. Scott does a great job with them. And so it just kind of creates an energy, gives us ideally a competitive edge, but we still have to get things done at the end of the day. But we love it. It teaches kids to be a part of something bigger than themselves, helps them kind of build that legacy like we'd mentioned.
Hey, Matt, thanks so much for your time and best of luck here in the 2022-23 campaign.
Appreciate it. Thank you very much.
That again, Matt Norman, head coach of Central Cass Squirrels, with us here on our Your Live Event Coaches Show.
In Hope, North Dakota, we aren't just a town, we're a community, one that you can be proud of, where you and your family can grow. With available jobs, affordable housing, a local golf course and pool, the Sportsman Club, and great educational opportunities, there hasn't been a better time to join the Hope community, ideally located between Fargo, Grand Forks, and Jamestown. For more information, go to www.hopend.com. Live, work, and play in Hope, North Dakota.
Buying a new home, but worried about the interest rate and terms from your bank? At First Class Mortgage, we'll find a mortgage that fits your needs. Shopping national banks and other lenders for the lowest rate and most affordable terms. Saving you time and money. So all you need to worry about is enjoying your new home. First Class Mortgage. Our expertise, your peace of mind. Put an expert to work for you. Call today.
This is Chris from RDK Enterprises, your local precision planting dealer. Manage what you can to overcome what you cannot. Farming is all about preparing your operation to be successful when given an opportunity. Invest a few minutes and bring in your seed meters to be reconditioned and calibrated. We have some room, so give us a call and we can help you overcome those simple obstacles. RDK Enterprises, 636-2119, 636-2119, or planterdoc.com.
We're going to switch gears here on the Your Live Event Coaches Show, brought to you by the Hillsboro Economic Development Commission. We'll hear from the defending state girls hockey champions, the Warroad Warriors. Blayke Nelson is one of their assistants. Had a chance to talk with him this week, but we'll start things off a little bit closer in Red Lake Falls and talk with Trevor Page, the coach of the Red Lake Falls Eagles boys hockey team.
Welcome back to the Your Live Event Coaches Show, brought to you by the Hillsboro Economic Development Commission. We're going to talk some boys high school hockey now. Trevor Page is the coach of the Red Lake Falls Eagles, and you've gotten off to a start that Meatloaf would say isn't bad, winning 2 out of your first 3.
Yeah, absolutely. I guess anytime you're above 500 is a good thing. I wish we were a little bit better, but we're a young team, and we got some things to work on.
You've got a couple of guys who don't seem to have much trouble scoring goals. Those would be the Girdlers. Gavin's got 11 in 3 games, and Evan's got 4 in 3 games.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, they're top end talent guys, and we have other guys that have talent besides them, but they've really been putting up the points in our first 3 games there.
What years are they?
Evan's a senior. Gavin, his brother's a sophomore.
Okay, so plenty of more goals, hopefully, to come from there. Who have some other guys that have stood out for you in the first few games?
Well, our center with the Girdler brothers, Blake Bryland. He does a fantastic job, has a motor that doesn't quit. We also have Brock Seeger, another sophomore. He actually played forward for us last year, but he's playing defense now. We're only running 3D since we only have 13 skaters, which is always less than any other team that we play. But got a lot of returning guys. I mean, you got Jay Seeger, you got Brock Connaught, you got Hofer. 2 goalies returning, and Fredrickson and Struthers. So we got some returning guys, and they know what's expected.
What do you see as the strong points of the Eagles?
Right now is just our work ethic. These guys don't give up. They've gone through it all their whole hockey career. We're only probably playing 9-10 guys compared to 14, 15 every night. They've dealt with that throughout their youth. And they don't give up, and that really showed in that Crookston game where we probably didn't have the best start, or we didn't have the best start first 2 periods, but they kept battling, and we took them to overtime, and then we got the winner in overtime.
Okay. And that was 8-7?
Yep.
Okay. 13 kids, that sounds like it's, forgive the expression, seems like the program is skating on thin ice. Is it?
No. We've actually had lower numbers probably 5-6 years ago, maybe not that long ago, but we had about 10 skaters, 12 kids total. Like I said, it's nothing that we're not used to. Our youth numbers are definitely growing. We actually have 2 Bantam teams this year, which we haven't had in probably 20 years. So 2 squirt teams. We got 1 Pee Wee team, but the numbers there are 15, 16. So youth numbers are looking really good.
The trick is keeping the kids interested.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah.
Looking at Section 8, where do you see the Eagles fitting in here?
Well, Section 8, we're always shooting for probably 4 or 5 seed. We'd say 4. He's got the top Warroad east side. You can throw Thief River up there, Detroit Lakes, so kind of in that 4 or 5 area. We're going to have some big games second half of the season with Thief and DL. We only play them once. But we got a long road to go before we get to those games. I guess our number one goal for this year would be to win the conference. So that's going to be a huge game against Kitson. We got one against Bagley under our belt already. We got them again, and then also Lake of the Woods. So.
And I see you've got a few North Dakota teams on your schedule. You got a couple of games with Mayport coming up.
Yeah, we got them on Friday here. We've been playing them for quite a few years. They got a pretty stud goalie. He stole one from us last year, I think, in our own barn. I think we had 45, 50 shots, and they beat us 1-0. So,
wow.
Yeah, and they got him coming back. So, we're going to have our hands full a little bit, but guys are looking for some revenge.
Okay, what are some other games that you've got coming up on your schedule here as we get toward the holiday season?
Right before Christmas, we got Lake of the Woods and Park Rapids the week before Christmas, so that's always going to be huge. Both section games. Then after Christmas, we're going to head out to Duluth for 3 games where we're going to play Somerset, Wisconsin team, I guess we've never played before, and then Ely and North Shore as well in that tournament out there.
Okay, so the idea being keep the kids busy during the holiday season and also get some decent experience.
Oh yeah, and it's it's supposed to be a little break for them. I mean, we go out to Duluth, we stay out there for 3 days. Kids enjoy it. We go bowling, we have some team bonding stuff, so it's always a fun time out there.
No pizza?
Oh
Perhaps.
Yeah, there's probably a couple nights of pizza.
Yeah, I'm sure. Okay, Trevor Page, coach of the Red Lake Falls Eagles. Thanks very much for the time, and best of luck for the rest of the season.
Thank you, appreciate it.
And we'll continue with the Your Live Event Coaches Show, brought to you by the Hillsboro Economic Development Commission, right after this.
Hillsboro Economic Development Committee provides information and a support for small businesses. Experience Hillsboro. More at 104.
Welcome back to the Hillsboro EDC Coaches Show. We're going to talk a little girls' high school hockey. Blayke Nelson is the assistant coach with the defending Minnesota champions, the Warroad Warriors. Blayke, how's your new season going so far?
Pretty good. We're off to a good start. We only got 1 loss on the year so far, but the girls are buying into things and playing well together. And we had some good players come back, and it's been fun to watch so far.
How many girls do you have back, and who are some of the names that people would recognize?
So we brought back everybody but 2 skaters and 1 goalie from last year. And 2 of the names that I think most people would recognize would be our 2 leading scorers, so Talia Hendrickson and Kate Johnson. They're our 2 captains this year. They're seniors. They were up in the state rankings for total points and goals and assists and all that stuff last year. I can't remember exactly where they all finished, but they were up there. 2 very dynamic players that move the puck really well with each other. And then now they have a new center this year with Riley Bartz, and it's even more fun to watch. So,
how is the team different, or the style of player, has that not changed any?
Changed a little bit. I think last year we were pretty defensive focused. We tried to make sure we shut teams down at the blue line. Our goaltending was really good, top notch. She's now playing college hockey. We really tried to keep puck out of our net, and then we'd generate offense from that. This year, I think we're a little bit more on our toes. We have a little bit more speed this year with some of the younger players, and then a couple of the newer girls that moved to town. And it's just been a little bit more offensive focus. So you look at our Gentry game where we scored 10 goals, but we gave up 7, unfortunately. Not what you're looking for on a day-to-day, but it was good that we had the offense to beat that number 1 AA team.
Yeah, that's more a first quarter football score than a hockey score.
Very much so. We were joking about that in the coach's room after the game for sure.
You mentioned new players. Was there a girl who transferred from Fargo to play for you guys this year?
Yep, Riley Bartz. Her and her family moved up here. They moved up here in the later part of summer. She's very, very athletic, highly skilled hockey player. One of the most complete hockey players I've had the opportunity to watch and coach.
And she's really added a lot on that offensive side as well as being responsible in the defensive zone.
It sounds like one of those things where she wanted to test herself a little bit more.
Yeah, a little bit.
Competition.
A little bit. I know that that's the conversation with a lot of kids from North Dakota is they get into that high school level and the competition just isn't quite the same. And wanting to elevate her game a little further, I think maybe her family said, well, let's see what we can do to find an opportunity to grow and hopefully have a career after that. And I know right now she's committed to St. Thomas Academy or St. Thomas girls hockey program. So that's going to be fun for her right after high school to step into that program and start playing some D1 girls hockey.
Yeah, St. Thomas, the growing program, going from D3 to D1 in like one step.
Yep. It should be fun. I know she's really excited about it, and her two line mates are both committed to Bemidji State. So they'll hopefully maybe one day get to play each other on opposite teams, but it's going to be fun to watch because, like I said, those three together and even just apart, they're all three such dynamic players. They move the puck well. It doesn't matter who they're playing with, that they're going to create offense and do something pretty exciting and some stuff that you might not see in normal girls hockey. So
Blayke Nelson is the assistant coach with Warroad, the Warrior girls, the defending state champions. And that's Class A, correct? As opposed to Double A?
Correct. Yep.
Okay.
Single A.
Okay. Now we've got the holidays coming up. Are you going to be in any kind of a tournament over that period?
Yeah, so we host our holiday invitational the 26th, 27th, 28th, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. We got Lakeville North, Crookston, and Proctor Hermantown. Had to double check the schedule because I forgot the third team. So we got the four of us playing a 3-day tournament up here in Hockeytown, USA at the Gardens. It should be some really good hockey with Crookston being an up-and-coming single A team. They're ranked in the top 10. They're off to a really good start. Proctor Hermantown, we played them as our second game this year. We went to overtime and fortunately found the game winner there in the overtime. So it's going to be fun to have them in Lakeville North. Another competitive team is going to come up for the 3 days. So
I'm sure that's an exciting trip for other teams to go to see the great facility that the new Gardens is, and again the level of competition.
Very much so. It's been fun to grow the tournament. I know in the past they've had some teams that came up here for a year after year, and now in the last few years it's kind of been a rotating group just because it's slowly getting out there that it's even more competitive, and it's just kind of fun for new teams to come. So we invite new teams and kids get to come up here, experience Hockeytown. I know a lot of them over the 3 days will go ice fishing for a day. They'll go skate on the river for a day. Just do different things that maybe you can't down in the bigger cities or in the smaller towns that they're coming from.
Now, Blayke, what does Section 8 look like as far as girls hockey goes, besides yourself, who are going to be some other contenders?
I think Crookston's probably our number one component or competitor right now. They're like I said, they're up and coming. They're young. They're fast. They have a really good goaltender this year. Under the new co-op with Sacred Heart, Campbell Freege, she is one of the best goalies I've ever watched. She can keep them in any game that they're playing. It's going to be a fun section tournament, and by the time we play, I think a few people have heard it before, but our head coach Izzy has said before, sections are hosted here in Warroad, and they're coming up here for our Christmas tournament. So by the time we potentially will play them in the section championship game, it'll be their 6th game in our home rink.
Some great things to look forward to. Some should be a great spectacle and worth the trip up north to Warroad or wherever else the region tournament's going to be.
Definitely. The section tournament, I know we're all excited to have it hosted here in Warroad because we have such a nice facility and a lot of people like coming up here. I kind of wish it was a little bit more like the state tournament where it was a day back-to-back or something like that, so you can really kind of make it an event. But just the single games alone they create quite the environment and quite the energy in the Gardens.
Yeah, Warroad has a hockey environment for sure, almost no matter what the level is.
Exactly.
Okay. Blayke Nelson, thank you so much for your time, and best of luck to the Warroad Warrior girls hockey team, and Merry Christmas and Happy New Year.
No problem. I appreciate it. I'm happy to come on, and Merry Christmas, Happy New Year to yourself, and thanks for the time.
Okay. And we'll continue with the Hillsboro EDC Coaches Show here on YourLiveEvent.com right after this.
That will do it for this edition of the Coaches Show here on YourLiveEvent.com. Just a reminder that the fall sports guides are now available at a lot of high schools in the area and several businesses too. So be sure to pick one up if you haven't already, and have schedules, previews about teams, all here on the R&J Broadcasting Winter Sports Guide. And then, just a reminder that coming up next week, had a chance to have a chat with John Millay of the Minnesota State High School League, going over the year in review in 2022. So we'll be doing that, and we'll have a whole lot more. So please join us next Wednesday night at 7 o'clock on the Coaches Show, brought to you by the Hillsboro Economic Development Commission. I'm Joe Lancello. We'll see you then.